Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Kirk.
The NFC West 2024 over-unders.
Beautiful.
We're 75% through the NFL.
Yeah.
Doing the Norths next week.
Next week, we get the North. A lot of good teams there. But
Yeah, save the best for last.
yeah, listen back to the other ones. You know, we're on to the West now.
Yeah. There's been a lot of opinions flying all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, we've been cruel to some teams.
Yes, we have.
Absolutely cruel.
And we've maybe ill-advisedly bought into some teams, but that's the offseason, baby.
Yeah, you know, you gotta love it. I love the off season. I'm glad it's almost over. We're finally almost to some football. Hallelujah. Oh, the sweet sugary football.
And don't expect unbiased and level-headed reason from this episode, because we come to our hometown division where our Seattle Seahawks play. So we hate the other teams. We love the Seahawks, but we also love to hate the Seahawks. We're gonna be wild.
We are realistic Seahawks fans.
Yeah, we grew up in the 90s.
Yes,
with Seahawks fandom. So
Cortez Kennedy, but Rick Meyer.
Yeah, Cortez Kennedy winning Defensive Player of the Year while 2-14.
It's a miracle. Like, that never happened nowadays.
Oh, well, let's talk about a team that wishes it was the 90s. Haven't won a Super Bowl since 94. The San Francisco 49ers. Of course, they've been to 3, lost 3, including last year. Super Bowl 58, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. Kyle Shanahan chokes another one away, as they say.
They had their chances.
They did.
Had their chances.
The whole third quarter of the Super Bowl, all they needed to do was sustain a drive and not go 3 and out 4 times in a row.
Yep.
But the Chiefs defense, man, it
was solid, and
snapped.
And Brock Purdy sucks.
Yeah,
get ready for it, folks.
Kirk, why don't we just get it out of the way, Kirk?
Oh.
The Brock Purdy hate floor is open to you.
I'm so tired of this Brock Purdy hype. Like, we're acting like this guy is Mahomes or Josh Allen or something. This guy on a different team would be awful. Just absolutely terrible. You throw him on the Broncos, terrible. You throw him on any team, terrible. He's got so many weapons. This guy is Rex Grossman with Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, good offensive line, and a great defense. We're giving Brock Purdy the credit. We're giving Brock Purdy the credit.
I mean,
Come on, folks.
The MVP talk that went through the Brock Purdy for MVP talk thread through last season was annoying.
Yeah.
It was annoying.
It's terrible because everybody's it's all about the stats and it's the team winning and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, this guy isn't the reason the team's winning.
But I will say, Rex Grossman with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel would have done pretty dang good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
or you're just talking about the individual accolades.
The individual accolades.
Okay.
The fact that we are just giving all of the credit to Brock Purdy is stupid. It kind of reminds me of the early Tom Brady days, where everyone's like, oh, Tom Brady's a great quarterback because he's winning Super Bowls. And I'm just like, he's not winning the Super Bowls. The defense is. The coach is. And I hate it when the quarterback gets all the credit for a good team because he's not the real reason for it. If there was an MVP on the Niners last year, it was clearly Christian McCaffrey. It was not Brock Purdy. He's a game manager.
I agree with Christian McCaffrey is the reason the offense has taken this step up. But I don't hate Purdy as much as you do.
Oh,
I see him more like Doug Flutie. Because, okay.
We're still setting a low bar, though.
I know, low bar. Doug Flutie with 4 All-Pros on his offense.
Okay, yeah.
But I see him as he is something, he's bringing something that Jimmy Garoppolo never did, that Colin Kaepernick never did, that Alex Smith never did, which is this just little extra bit of I'm going to find my guy down there. Purdy to Ayuk is something that has been missing from the 49ers, whether they had good receivers or not for a long time. He does have that little bit of, screw you, Kyle Shanahan, I'm going for this.
Yeah.
And the other quarterbacks the 49ers haven't had that. That's why I call him Doug Flutie. He never should have been in the MVP talk.
Yeah.
Ever.
He can
That's why we're railing against
He
it.
can manage a game, but he can still improvise a little bit out of the system, which works for them. I can't just say he's the worst quarterback that ever was, because he's not. He's still...
That's Rex Grossman.
He's still, next to Rex Grossman, Nathan Peterman. Shout out to Nate Peterman.
Peterman reference. Well, what's really valuable is that he makes less than $1 million a year.
That is great for them.
So the 49ers, they brought in Javon Hargrave, the defensive line last year. They signed McCaffrey, they signed Kittle, signed Bosa, signed Debo. You know, they're getting their guys signed. I mean, eventually going to have to pay Purdy, but this Super Bowl roster is giving it another go.
Yeah.
Oh, Ayuk, though.
Ayuk might not be giving it a go. He's demanded a trade.
Which, I mean, is he just doing what Debo did last year? Because it worked for Debo.
Yeah. I just don't think they're actually going to pay Ayuk, because they drafted a guy, they paid Juwan Jennings. I think he's kind of more mad about that Juwan Jennings is making more money than Ayuk right now.
I think, and Ayuk is up against that, like, I got to play for the rest of my career, but if I get hurt, no one's going to pay me. Like, it sucks. That's what he's really feeling. And other teams are interested.
Yeah.
And reportedly during the draft, 5 other teams were interested, but they just couldn't meet. So they were interested in the sense that they wanted to get Ayuk, and they were willing to pay Ayuk the $28 million or whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But they weren't able to sweeten the pot enough for the 49ers to accept the trade.
And this could happen. It could happen in August, so I mean, this could be old news by the time you get around to it.
Yeah, we're recording Sunday, July 21st. So, you know, if you're listening to this after and you're like, you idiots.
Yeah, right.
Ayuk's on the, Packers or whatever.
Oh, God, that'd be awful. Jesus.
It's like the only team that doesn't do stuff like that.
Don't put that in my head.
Ayuk on the Cowboys. That seemed like that would be fun for the NFL headlines.
That would be a good one. All in.
Yeah. But yeah. 11. If Ayuk returns, 11 starters from the offense are back.
Yeah,
including Christian McCaffrey.
And it was working last year. It was rolling. They really only had one bad stretch, and that's when Debo got hurt and Trent Williams got hurt.
Yeah,
and it was more on Purdy. And this is probably why I hate Purdy so much. It's just because like when he lost some weapons and there wasn't the consistency, they lost games. Sure, they were close games. He was still in them. Yeah. They got a good team, but and if you just to rip on Purdy more, just go watch the Ravens game, the game that was on Christmas, where he threw 4 interceptions and didn't even make it to the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
when it's all on Purdy, that's what you're gonna get. Yeah. So,
I mean,
I'm gonna have to subside.
We saw in the Super Bowl too, though. All those 3 and outs.
Yeah,
I mean, they were all passes,
and he missed a couple throws that could have been, defining legacy moments for him, and he missed them.
Yeah, big moments.
So, but everybody in this offseason has been saying he's been taking a step forward. He's the guy. Blah blah blah. And
I mean, who do they not say that about? Though
I know.
There's a headline around Aiden O'Connell's been at the gym every day of the offseason. It's like, I sure hope so. He's a professional athlete.
Are people not at the gym all the time?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I mean, I guess he could take a vacation, but like he should keep in shape. The defense also stacked.
Yes.
49ers, just all sorts of stuff. They bring in, or they fired the defense coordinator, Steve Wilkes, who took a first place offense or first ranked offense of 2022, brought them down to 3rd last year.
Defense, yeah.
Third defense. So he got fired.
He got fired because that was just too far of a drop.
No, in seriousness, it did seem like the players were unhappy with him. The fans were definitely unhappy with him.
Yeah.
They promote a guy, Nick Sorensen, who has been on the 49ers for a while.
Yeah.
Is more of that kind of that pipeline, the Dan Quinn pipeline out of the 2013 Seahawks.
Yeah.
Legion of Boom side, because the 49ers have been on that path. That's where Robert Saleh came from.
But they're promoting within.
Yeah, so promoting within back to the business for the 49ers.
Yeah.
There.
And I think the defense is still going to be fine. As long as Fred Warner's healthy, this defense is perfectly fine.
And Nick Bosa didn't have his best year last year. He could bounce back.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a good year, but he could have an even better one. They bring in Leonard Floyd, who is a pass rusher, who is a great defensive end too. He's like the prototypical defensive end too. Everyone pay attention to Nick Bosa. Leonard Floyd's the guy you want taking advantage of those one-on-ones.
He knows how to do it.
That's what he did with Aaron Donald for all those years.
Yeah. I feel like the defensive line has gotten a little worse aggressively throughout the years.
Yeah.
Like they haven't been able to pay all these guys, and they paid Bosa. Like
Eric Armstead aged out and they let him go.
This used to be 4 guys. Buckner used to be there. So it used to just be like they had an awesome front 4. The secondary could be a little weak.
Yeah.
But they're trying to rebuild around Bosa while they still have a strong unit.
Yeah, and they are a little top heavy to exactly what you're getting to here. Yep. Like the names are fun to say. We're talking about all pros, but where are we really on depth here? We've hemorrhaged coaches and players to the Texans, to the Jets. Staffs, entire staffs have been leaving us. Yeah. It is. There's some.
It's hard to keep that consistency. I mean, you still got the players, or you've lost a few names here and there, but you're losing coordinators year after year after year. That's going to wear on you. And Greenlaw. I mean, I talk about Fred Warner being the guy. Greenlaw's not going to be ready for the season. That was Super Bowl. He tore that Achilles.
Coming off of the sideline, still one of the worst things I've seen. It just sucks.
I know. And he was so pumped. You could just tell.
He did it because he was pumped.
Yeah. So just, if you're in the Super Bowl, temper your expectations when you come onto the field. Yeah. That's just a forewarning.
They're going to have, the Super Bowl teams are going to be like, now remember,
jog onto the field.
Jog onto the field. Keep your legs under you.
Yeah.
Over-under is 11.5. So they are the highest, along with the Chiefs, their fellow Super Bowl participant.
It's pretty high. It's pretty high. I think a lot of people, I feel like most of the media, at least, is picking just Chiefs-Niners again.
Yeah.
Which is just a classic mistake and never happens. We haven't had a repeat Super Bowl since the Bills and the Cowboys in the early 90s.
Every year, it's like the Super Bowl will just happen again.
Yeah. And, and I worry about that a little bit. All it takes is a few little injuries. And last year, they had that little slump because people were hurt. Mm-hmm. Debo gets hurt and they lose Ayuk or something. Or maybe McCaffrey's banged up.
Yeah.
And you have to put the ball on Brock Purdy's shoulders. There could be some losses here. So, with that said, I think I'm going under.
Yeah.
I don't see this team just rattling off wins like they did last season.
I'll take the under, too.
And they're going to be very hunted. I mean, they've always been kind of a hunted team, but, this is when you win the division, when you win your conference, everybody coming for you. They're giving you your best shot every single week.
Wow, they start with the Jets week 1. That's going to be a great game.
I like that.
Yeah. I take the under, too. Everyone's going to start getting hurt. They're going to start getting hurt in practice, folks.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to lose them in practice. We're going to lose, a third of the starters.
Yep.
Before the end of the year. It is insane. And everyone's going to post injuries are worse this year.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to post that. I guarantee it. How do I know? Because that's what they do every year.
It happens every friggin' year. Yeah. I mean, last year, remember how many quarterbacks got hurt? I mean, it took most of the headlines, but then running backs always get hurt. They're missing at least 3 or 4 weeks every season.
An offensive line that makes it through the year is usually the explanation for why this team that wasn't expected to do that good did good.
Yeah.
It's because their offensive line stayed healthy.
Yeah. And,
I don't see that. They had good health last year. I'm not betting on them again.
Yeah. I mean, we do got to give some props to Kyle Shanahan, who has just cemented himself in, head coaching lore here. I mean, I hope he eventually gets a Super Bowl somewhere down the road just to kind of put that stamp on it.
Yeah. But, I think this will be remembered as the Shanahan McVay era of NFL.
Yeah.
But to cement it, he needs that Super Bowl.
He needs it.
He's had so many cracks at it.
I like he's still taking the blame for the Falcons' loss when Dan Quinn was the coach. He's still getting the rap for that.
He is. And he really shouldn't. I don't think he choked it last year.
No.
People say 49ers blew a 10-point lead. I think I said it at the top, but that's a 10-point lead in the second quarter, against Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, and you had a fumbled punt that was just kind of rubbish and hit a guy's foot.
And your MVP running back fumbled one too.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't really just blame that all on Shannon. It was a great football game. But I think the Niners just regressed just a little bit.
Yeah.
Still a playoff team.
Yeah, just 11.5. But that's high.
Yeah, I'm talking 12 games. That's tough. Not many teams won 12 games last year.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I mean, 4 teams got above 12 wins, I think.
Yeah.
So
well, let's go to the Rams. 10-7 last year, over under of 8.5. Their story could be much more glowing. They almost beat the Lions last year in the wild card game.
It was close.
Everything is seemed like it was destiny. The Lions were going to win a couple playoff games, but the Rams were red hot at the end of the season. The only games they lost in the last 9 games was to the Ravens in overtime and to the Lions in a insane environment.
Yeah.
Where Stafford's thrown for 400 yards and all he needed was just one of those in a red zone drives to turn into a touchdown.
Yeah.
And they probably win that game.
And needed just one more stop to get the ball back.
Yeah.
Detroit really ran the clock at the end of that.
Yeah.
But, Stafford, he finally got that win for Detroit. He finally got them that playoff win. Just in the wrong way.
I think the hope for the Rams is that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp stay healthy.
Same
and
time.
the Rams can get this going again on offense.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Sean McVay. I feel like I didn't like him early on. Like, he was just like, oh, here's this really young guy who's got this new thing going, and he's going to be the greatest coach that ever was, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then the retirement talks after them winning.
Contract negotiation tactic.
It was all just kind of rubbish. But, man, I'm really starting to appreciate his consistency as a coach.
Nice.
Like, he's really only had one bad season. Mm-hmm. I mean, what was it? The year after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2022.
And then everybody wrote this team off. Besides that, they've won 9 games every season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've been to 2 Super Bowls. They won one of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a fantastic coach. He's got his quarterback. As long as Matt Stafford stays healthy, this team's going to be in the competition.
And I think that's a question, though.
It is the question.
Yeah.
Because Matt Stafford seems to be banged up every season.
And it's his 16th season. Their backup, by the way, is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, no. Everything I said about Sean McVay out the door.
How could you do this? Yeah.
What are you thinking?
But if Stafford stays healthy, Puka Nacua, I mean, it's a fun team to watch. Sean McVay's back in his bag. Matt Stafford, instead of there's 2 paths. The dark road of getting hurt and handing the reins over to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
who will get Kupp and Nacua hurt as well if you're following Netflix at all. Or the light path is that Stafford has a great season and he only needs 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns to be top 10 all time on the career leaderboards.
Really?
For both yards and touchdowns. He'll bump out Eli from the top 10.
Oh, yes.
In both cases.
I'm all for that.
So let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I think it could be a great offensive year. The question is, what about the defense? Because Aaron Donald is gone.
Aaron Donald
retired.
Is gone. Yeah. I do like the way they kind of shifted to all these younger guys. They went all in when they won the Super Bowl.
So much youth.
And immediately got rid of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, now we're going to go for this. And it worked last year. I mean, it wasn't like a stellar top 10 defense, but it was, you could see the pieces. You could see the, where the holes actually were.
Yeah. And amazingly, it is through the draft. Yes, they've been they've been selling their first round picks all over the place, but they're just taking tons of mid round and late round picks.
They finally hired some scouts.
Youth. Yeah, there's so much youth that they have ported in, and that's kind of the only hope. I'm worried for the Rams defense that we're about to truly appreciate how great Aaron Donald was.
Yeah.
First team All-Pro last year and then retired.
Yeah. Future Hall of Famer, definitely.
Future Hall of Famer. He was first team All-Pro 8 times.
Woo.
That's the most for any defensive player in history. It's tied with Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor.
Ooh, man.
Okay? Ever heard of them?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
that's impressive company.
Aaron Donald takes up 2 to 3 players every play. That maybe they're not blocking him, but they're thinking about him.
Yeah.
They are affected by him in terms of the game plan. Now every offense has 1 or 2 players to deploy against the rest of these Rams. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm uncertain how to really rank that. I don't know how to judge.
Yeah. There's going to be a hole. I mean, it's just like you're never going to be able to replace Aaron Donald. You just don't just draft a future Hall of Famer and just throw him in there unless you're the Packers and their quarterbacks. But this kind of reminds me when the Seahawks Legion of Boom was kind of falling apart and we lost Earl Thomas and all of a sudden we're giving up 50-yard touchdowns down the middle of the field and we're like, what's going on?
Yeah, how did they do that? Yeah. We didn't see a post route for 6 years.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it just bam, bam, bam. We're like, oh, that was Earl Thomas. Okay, he really was good.
That's what the Rams are going to see.
So they're going to be hurt that way. shifting back to the offense.
Okay.
Second-year receivers always concern me. Puka Nacua has been launched into like the stratosphere of hype, like just because of the season he had last year, which was a great season. But now you've got a full year of tape on Puka Nacua, and like, can he stay consistent throughout a whole season here with Cooper Kupp being healthy the whole season? Like, can they share the load effectively? Does he actually transition to the wide receiver 1? Do you let Cooper Kupp fall into wide receiver 2 territory? I'm not as confident on Nacua and Kupp being like the best receiving duo.
Oh,
I think there's a competition there, and I think Stafford's better when it's just kind of one guy. Nakua's best games are kind of before Kupp kind of came back and was healthy.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned with how that's actually going to play out. They're good. They're awesome. They're great. Okay, but like getting a season under your belt and then having all that tape on you, it concerns me just a little bit.
I'm not as concerned. Like, I feel like if Kupp's healthy, that'll negate that. I don't know.
It feels like Stafford's always wide receiver 1.
I do.
That's
He
the only guy
does,
I'm going
he
for.
He loves to pepper.
Yeah.
Well, the whole league in Vegas is down on the Rams. They won 10 games last year, but the over-under is 8.5.
Okay.
So
it's an Aaron Donald drop.
Donald drop. What are you, over and or under here?
8.5?
Yeah.
Ooh. I like McVay. I think he can get at least 9 wins. I think they're always going to kind of be in games. So
they start at Detroit. What a fabulous week 1 we're going to have.
That's just mean. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I think they know how to stay in games. They kind of know that they're not top dogs, so they're still the hunters, not the hunted. They're just kind of a somewhere in the middle pack. But like, I think this coach is good enough, and he's been rebuilding this defense well enough, I think, that they can win at least 9. They're going to be in that hunt. You're going to be talking about wild card Rams, like, in that mix.
I'm going to go under, and Matt Stafford's getting hurt. I would, like, if I was actually betting this, I would like to be on the side where Matt Stafford gets hurt.
Okay, yeah. And I'm a little wavering on.
Yeah.
That one's close to me. Because I can see this season being an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. It's a decent offensive line, too. I mean, the Rams have been notorious for having a couple bad lines here and there. They're doing okay.
Yeah. And running back overhyped.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams is so overhyped. It's just ridiculous.
That's a fantasy football inflation.
Yeah, just give you a little heads up. That is a bad pick.
Want to go to the hometown boys?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's go to
Seattle
the Seahawks. 9-8 last year, 7.5 over under. So we're also dipping here. The Pete Carroll dip.
That's higher than I thought it would be, though.
You thought it'd be lower than 7.5?
Yeah.
Well, we are one of the teams that people are kind of projecting near the bottom here. First-year head coach who's 37 years old.
Right.
Geno Smith in his 3rd year. I guess we'll start there. It's the rare case where a defensive coach, Pete Carroll, has been replaced by a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator, 1-year defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, Mike Macdonald.
Ooh.
The young replaces the old.
The young replaces the old. Ryan Grubb, offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, from the Huskies.
Yes.
More young.
I usually like when a young coach comes in with older veteran coaches. Like when McVay came in, he had Wade Phillips with him to kind of show him the ropes a little bit. McDonald's not really doing that. We just went full out young.
Yeah.
Like just full scale.
Yeah.
We're just going to.
It's a whole overhaul here.
We're going to run this however the heck we want to. I got some faith in McDonald's. I mean, I kind of ran out of it with Pete, and Pete we trust. We did it too long, But I like McDonald. I think the defense will be fine.
Yeah.
Biggest crux is what it's been for the last 2 years. Geno Smith is not a starting NFL quarterback.
Okay. He's a starting NFL quarterback. You don't think so?
If you had your choices, I'd be picking some other people. I don't know if I can list off 32 above him, though. So,
Well, I still continue to lament that Anthony Richardson did not fall to us at overall pick number 5.
Yeah.
And we could have taken him. Though, happy with Devin Witherspoon. That was a great pick. He seems like he's a star. But if we had just gotten Anthony Richardson and we were building on that, That'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But I think Geno can helm. He can do like a, sort of like poor man's Dak Prescott type of thing. He can helm a really good machine.
Yeah.
And as far as on paper, 3 decent receivers. Tyler Lockett's fallen off a little bit, but DK Metcalf would certainly hold his own. Jackson Smith and Jigba showed some spark.
Yeah.
Certainly on the up and up. We had both of our young tackles, get hurt last year. They're back. Charles Cross, Lucas. There's some offensive line. Like, if everything around him is good, Geno Smith's somebody who can do this. But
he could pull a Purdy.
Which Jimmy Garoppolo can't. No. Jimmy Garoppolo is a negative.
Yeah.
So Geno Smith could.
Okay. So that's where we got Geno. It's above Jimmy Garoppolo, but a little below Brock Purdy. Okay.
I would say
somewhere in there.
I would say he's very heavily reliant on the rest of the offense.
Yeah. The offense is, I'm very concerned. I'm just like, Ryan Grubb coming from college running this thing as the offensive coordinator, a head coach that's not really like offensive oriented or doesn't like maybe not know how to delegate from there. Like becoming a head coach is a tough thing.
Yeah, the story of the season to me is, how is Mike Macdonald as a head coach?
Yeah.
Because I think we've hired the new hotness of defensive schemes. So July of last year, everyone would just casually, including us, would just casually toss off the Vic Fangio offense has taken over the NFL, or defense.
Defense, yeah.
Vic Fangio defense has taken over the NFL. Everyone's running some variation of the Vic Fangio defense. Well, by the time you got to Christmas, that saying was, everyone's doing Vic Fangio except for the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're doing something else. They're doing Mike Macdonald something.
Yeah.
And it was a great defense.
Oh, yeah.
The Ravens should have won the Super Bowl from their defense. That was a historic defense that I feel bad that they didn't win a Super Bowl. They were playing so well.
At least make it.
At least make it.
Yeah.
But does that mean you're a good head coach? We hired, we've seen Fangio, for example.
Right.
We hired the new hotness. I think everyone's going to start to copy that Ravens defense. That'll be the new wave. But does that mean he's a good head coach?
Can he adapt?
That's going to be the thing to watch this year. What's he like? It's a different skill.
Yeah. And you're less running the X's and O's and more, delegating to the team and what you got.
Yeah. When Mike and I were in high school,
it's sad that
unfortunately true, and he was younger than me.
Yeah.
I know that he will bring the power of emo to. I'm just kidding.
The power of emo.
The power of taking back Sunday. Take back Sunday. Well, let's talk about the defense a little bit. There's some fun personnel moves here.
I like the defense.
We got some beef up front for once. We drafted Big Murph.
Finally.
We signed Leonard Williams. We already had Jaron Reed. There's some beef up front.
We haven't had a good defensive line in a long ass time. Even Legion of Boom days, like we weren't like awesome defensive line.
We got some good pass rushers, but we were still piecing and paxing. Yeah.
This looks like one of the better defensive lines in the league, in my opinion.
Beef it up.
Just, all the way across. I love Big Murph the Rook with Leonard Williams. We were going to have some interior pressure.
Yeah. I can't wait to have that. We've been missing that.
Yes. And we've got tons of edge rushers all over the place. One
of them's got to hit.
Somebody's got to show up.
Right? We haven't had edge rushing either since Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the different types of blitzing packages we're going to come with. The different type, because we've been running Pete Carroll defense for a decade, and it's like fine. The league caught up. And I'm excited to see something new from the Seahawks that people don't know how to plan for.
Yeah, and how does the Michael Macdonald defense do this with their linebackers?
Yeah.
We unfortunately don't have Jordan Brooks.
I know.
That just breaks my heart.
Why didn't we keep him?
Out of money? I don't know. He's in Miami. But will the linebackers be able to keep up? That's going to be a big question. Yep. Of course, Wagner's in Washington. Devin Witherspoon's there. Our only player in the top 100.
Really?
The NFL 100, the Seahawks only had one guy, Witherspoon, at 74.
And I expect Tyreek Woolen to come back and have a kind of a recapture what he had that first season of his.
Well, we got a lot of pieces in the secondary, too.
Like everybody's worried about our safeties, but we already have two good safeties back there anyways. Like, sure, Jamal Adams hadn't been playing for us for for like 3 years now. And
we didn't lose Jamal Adams. We never had Jamal Adams.
Yeah, and Quandre Diggs, I'm just like, whatever. Yeah. Okay, we still got good safeties, but everybody's like ripping on our safeties for some reason. And I'm like, Jordan loves a good safety. He can work with this system. I mean, we'll be okay.
My worry with the safeties isn't about them. It's the same thing with Belichick leaving. Once Pete Carroll, who is a master craftsman of the secondary, one of the best of all time, once he's gone, how do all these secondary, especially the safeties, but I can't judge it yet.
Yeah.
I want to see them do good without Pete Carroll first before I really put my hat behind him.
And heck, if everything's not working in safeties, let's just sign Justin Simmons, who's still a free agent.
I know.
So,
that would...
Right?
I would absolutely jump for joy.
I'd be pumped for that. Defense, I think we're going to be solid. I've been waiting for a good defense again.
Yeah.
It's
been a while.
It just depends on, what's this offense going to look like with a college coordinator coming in? And, is Geno actually going to be able to hold up his own? Does the offensive line get hurt again? So there's definitely weapons. But, I mean, I got to be happy because, we finally moved on to something else. A new head coach just about every year. One of these first-year head coaches goes to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It seems like every year we get something like that. D'Amico Ryans last year. It just seems like we always kind of get this. We got a new thing. Teams don't know how to plan for it. What are we going to have to expect from this team? And we could come out and shock some people. We could be just awesome defensively, just scoring, 20-something points a game with Geno and Jackson Smith and Jigba finally taking a leap or something.
Yeah.
This could look good. This really could. I mean, it seems like we're kind of a little iffy and sour on this team, but I mean,
we are the old-fashioned Seahawks fans.
Playoffs aren't, really out of the realm.
Yeah. When's the last time we made the playoffs?
2 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
2020.
We lost to the Niners?
Yep. We were the 7th seed. We just got absolutely flummoxed.
We shouldn't even have made it. Yeah.
We shouldn't have. We just kind of go to the playoffs all the time now. We're very spoiled.
We are a wild card losing team. We love it. We're all about it.
I would love for Mike McDonald to hit, but I just don't. The data is missing. If we got Mike McDonald as a defensive coordinator, why would he do this though? Because he's defensive coordinator in the Ravens.
Right.
But if he was our defensive coordinator, I'd be frothing at the mouth that we're going to be so good.
Yeah.
But he's the coach. I just don't know where we are. The over-under is pretty low, 7.5.
Yeah. I mean, that is pretty low.
It's youth time, but it's also uncertainty time. I'm like, golly, I don't know. I'm torn between the two different sides of homerism. I like every player we've named. I like them. I'm rooting for them. I'm confident they're going to do awesome.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a pessimistic man. We're going 0-17 because, of course, that would happen to me.
It's in our blood.
It's in our blood.
And there'll be no good quarterbacks coming up. We won't even get to draft one.
I know. We'll be golly. Okay, what are you doing? 7.5 over under.
Oh man, I just looked at the actual defensive coordinator's name, Aiden Durd.
It's a bad name.
I know. Durd? How did the Durds make it? A little sidetrack there. You know what?
The Durds cordially invite you to the
right? I think, oh man, I'm going over.
Okay.
8 wins?
Yep.
We can get 8 wins.
I mean, we've been 9-8 last 2 years.
And I think Jackson Smith and Jigba has a breakout year.
Ooh, I like that. I like Smith and Jigba.
I know we didn't talk about Walker Charbonnet being a nice 1-2 punch. As long as that stays a 1-2 punch and nobody gets too banged up, because last year both of them were. This could work. This could we could sneak and rattle off 8 wins.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we're actually playoff bound, maybe 7 seed or something like that. But yeah, I don't want to be too pessimistic on my home team here.
Yeah,
I think we can shock some people.
Maybe I'm just looking at this too much. I ripped the Raiders for coach and quarterback subparness, and we're not the Raiders. We're not nearly as bad as they are in coach and quarterback. But when the coach and quarterback is uncertain, I'm filled with this queasy.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm going to feel better during the season as we go. If there is a hope, and I'm going to go over because I want to be optimistic. If there is a hope, it's that John Snyder is on a heater. We've seen 2 good drafts, 2022, 2023. Both drafts that we're full of players. Our tackles, Woolen, Witherspoon, Smith and Jigba, all sorts of great players filling out a roster. If this class hits as well, Big Murph comes in and he's playing well. Who's the we got a guard there at the second round. He plugs in perfect.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
If that's the story, John Snyder's on another heater.
Yeah.
Then I could see us doing well. And that's what I'm going to hope for, and the whole team is going to rise. A tide raises all water, all the buoys go up with the tide. None of the buoys go down. Not during the tide.
Buoys sinking all the time.
Listen, I don't live on the beach. I don't know.
We are not ocean people. I like it. I like having some hope this season. It's just like I don't know what to expect coming into the year now, which I like. Because it seems like the last 5-6 years I've just been like, I know exactly what I'm getting with Pete Carroll.
We knew the range with the post Russell Wilson Pete Carroll was pretty much guaranteed to be 9-8.
Our defense isn't good enough, and our offense is mediocre enough. I just kind of knew that's where we were going to be.
Yeah. There's some excitement. It's the excitement, but the queasiness of it all is what we're feeling.
But as a Seahawks fan, it would not shock me to have just an awful season. Be like, duh. Yep, should have seen that coming. 5-12. Something like that. But I am optimistic for this team. I'm ready to see something new.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're in.
Optimism.
Good. Now let's talk about the Cardinals
and bring it back down.
4-13 last year. They have the same over/under as us, 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's kind of shocking.
I guess Kyler Murray's back, and I don't know.
Oh, the Kyler Murray hype.
And last year, they were 4-13, but they weren't like cupcakes on the schedule. Like we did this all year. Teams would be playing the Cardinals. We wouldn't necessarily give them the win like we would if they were playing the Panthers or the Commanders or whatever. They were more like a bran muffin. Not a cupcake.
Okay.
But the Cardinals fought teams hard last year. They beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, they did.
They beat the Eagles.
Yeah. Their wins are good. Yeah. They beat the Steelers too. I mean, that's 3 playoff teams right there. So.
Yeah, and they always almost beat us because damn you Cardinals.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Gannon, one of the one of the coordinators for the Eagles, who are the big story is the Eagles lost their coordinators and they suck now.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of them.
He's
on the Cardinals. And Steichen, of course, the other one on the Colts. I don't know. There's something. Maybe that's why they're 7.5. They're getting Kyler Murray back. They were bran muffins, not cupcakes.
Yeah.
There's some upward trajectory here for the Cardinals.
They were battling. You can tell they had the grit and to actually keep competing, especially when you're already out of it. The way their season started, they're like, okay, we can still do this. We can build towards something.
Yeah.
Kyler was out for the first half of that year.
They're supposed to be the first overall pick. That's what everyone was predicting.
Yeah. But this is just all Kyler Murray hype.
Yeah. What do you think of Kyler Murray?
I think Kyler Murray should have went to baseball.
Are you serious?
I don't like Kyler Murray, man. He just reminds me of just like a little Russell Wilson out there. Can't see over the line and never hits a pass over the middle. Yeah. He's small. He's small, he's quick. He's starting to get some injuries that are like, oh, maybe that takes his quickness away. Can this guy ever just be a true pocket passer, hit a 5-yard slant over the middle? Is there any tape on that?
Yeah. Oh, not in a Kingsbury offense, too. We don't know. He's been in a Kingsbury.
I mean, unless this team starts working play actions better and whatnot, maybe they will. And there's hope for it. But I'm just not a Kyler Murray fan. We're just acting like he's a number one pick, number one overall pick from that year, and he must just be awesome and good. And we finally got him, Marvin Harrison Jr. And of course, it's gonna work. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. can only run a deep route, and that's the only route that Kyler Murray can see, is it really gonna work?
Well, Marvin Harrison can run the whole route tree now.
But Kyler Murray can't throw the whole route tree. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying.
This is just me ripping on Kyler Murray. He's still better than Brock Purdy, though. Another jab.
He brought Purdy into every other team.
Right? Just hate that guy. Just got to let the fans know. Just whenever he wins, I am upset.
I think I'm a little more positive on Murray than you are.
Yeah.
As with the Purdy thing, I guess to me, it's like, okay, when Kyler Murray was the MVP favorite 7 weeks into the 2022 season.
Mm-hmm.
Or was that 2022? The one where they were undefeated at the beginning.
I think that was 01. Or not 21.
Okay. But that was too much. Kyler as MVP. You know, he was making a lot of it up as he goes. And then he faded pretty bad.
Yeah.
And is that Kingsbury? Like, I guess I don't know. I'm not willing to say that Kyler can't do this. Now, he is small. I think his speed is still there. Even if he came back after the torn ACL.
He is a shifty little dude, man.
I didn't see the speed cut off too much, even at the end of last year. And there was certainly rust in other areas, but he looked quick to me. And that's kind of his, you know, if you have a coach who works with that strength, I mean, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know maybe longevity-wise there might be problems, especially after he loses a step, but I think if he still has that step and he has Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride as a tight end, that's another big
he's a good
point.
tight end.
Like, I don't know. I would love Kyler Murray to be good because the NFC we need good quarterbacks over here to be fun, to be able to watch TV and have fun.
Right. NFC, man, quarterback. What's going on?
Like Dak Prescott and Jared Goff are good.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
I'm down on Murray. There's something about not being able to see over the line. That's why I don't like Wilson.
Liked that.
That's why I don't like Bryce Young even just coming out already. I'm just like, this guy can't hit those routes. Like,
yeah. Bryce Young's even smaller.
Yeah.
Like, Murray at least got some beef to him.
Like, if you have good defensive tackles and you can bring some pressure up the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I don't know what Kyler Murray's going to do. Like, those games are already over.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they are trying to get like a run-first mentality, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're not trying to do greatest show on turf here.
I was thinking if they can get some play actions, get him rolling out more often and making plays like that, because he's just good on the run. Yeah. Like, that's his style. He needs to be a running quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and I think they can do it. What's this guy's name? Drew Petzing.
That's the offensive
coordinator. I like that name a little better than the last guy.
Yeah, the Petzings cordially invite you too. Way better if the Petzings and the Durds invited me to their houses across competing barbecues across a nice summer afternoon.
Going Petzing.
I'm going the Petzings.
Yeah, right. Just sounds zesty. You know?
Yeah. You know they got a bouncy house and an open bar.
Making my predictions based on names.
I think play action, like if they could become like a ball control offense, he could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
They need a defense for that though. They
Yes.
had one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year.
But they have a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
So
defensive-minded head coach. And in team preview land, when a team has a bad defense, we want to see new names churning through. That's what we want to talk about. And that's what we see. They're drafting safeties. They're signing Sean Murphy Bunting. They're they got their second round corner. He's ready to start. There's a really good guy there.
Yeah,
but a lot of churn on the defensive line.
Still got Buda Baker.
Who's the piece you want to keep.
There's
it's
pieces.
Kind of a roll of the dice again.
There are pieces, and they did play better than their talent last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to give the head coach credit for that. Yeah. You could tell that the defense is making an upward trajectory to become better.
One of my pet peeves is like in probably both these magazines, it says the Cardinals gave up the most rushing yards of any team last year, implying they're just missing the point. It's not that the Cardinals, yes, they were bad defense, but they were susceptible to the run because they were always losing because their offense wasn't doing crap.
Exactly. Right?
Like, it's not that the defense was objectively... The defense gave up less yards than, 6, 7, 8 teams. Like, they weren't the bottom of the NFL defense.
Yeah.
Even though I introduced this segment by saying they were, one of the worst defenses is what I said.
Yeah.
And they were one of the 8 worst defenses.
Well, so they had no offense for half the season.
That's grading.
Right. That just happens. But I mean, without even looking at the stats, I'm sure the Commanders are up on that list.
They absolutely are.
I'm sure the Panthers are probably up on that list. It's just like,
they gave up less total yards than Seattle.
Okay. Wow. That's surprising.
We had a tough year last year.
Yeah, we did. Pete. Pete.
Pete.
I think there's things to look forward to. I just don't think that they're really ready to break out. And I think this Marvin Harrison hype,
He's a rookie.
Kyler Murray's back for a full season, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is the next, Justin Jefferson or the next Marvin Harrison. They're acting like this is already
next Larry Fitzgerald.
They think this is already working.
Yeah. They always got the Larry Fitzgerald comparison.
Yeah.
When the Cardinals drafted Larry Fitzgerald 3rd overall in 2004, it was the start of a Hall of Fame career. Well, do you remember how they did in 2004?
Yeah.
Not that good.
Yeah.
So
wasn't pretty.
And here we are in the first year.
Yeah. Honestly, I like Trey McBride. I mean, I like that you mentioned that name, because if they get this play action games working, Trey McBride's perfect for that. I think he's kind of the next up and coming tight end here.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
he was a rookie last year, right? So second year?
Yeah. Damn. So I like that they're building those weapons. I think Harrison's going to struggle a little bit. He'll have games. Yeah, he'll have games.
That's a rookie.
Where we're just like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be awesome. But I don't know if he'll put it out for the whole year.
Okay. 7.5.
7.5. I've been over with every team right now, I think.
You like the NFC West?
I mean, I think it's still under. I think they're going to compete with teams. I don't think they're just like chalk up a W. You're playing the Cardinals this week. But, I do think there's still holes on defense. I think the offensive line still needs a little work. And I want to see how that coordinator works with Murray for a whole season. How do they actually get Marvin Harrison involved?
Yeah.
Are they going to move on from James Conner finally? Just like these little things where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sold on the Cardinals yet. I'm just not sold on them. And I don't like Kyler Murray.
I'll take the over. I mean, I do think that Kyler Murray, in a pretty realistic world, is the best quarterback in the NFC. It's possible. And 7.5 is something I'm willing to take for someone who could possibly be the best quarterback in the NFC. Like, if he just returns to what he was.
We're on opposite ends on Kyler Murray here.
And I mean that as an insult to the NFC, by the way.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray couldn't nowhere near Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson level.
Right.
The NFC, come on, guys.
Yeah,
but
pick up the pace.
He's not going to be that guy, and I've rebelled against that many times. But I just think 7.5 for who. I mean, easily Kyler Murray's better than Geno Smith. Kyler Murray's probably better than Brock Purdy. And Matt Stafford ain't going to play 17 games. I just feel like we might be in November 1st talking about Kyler Murray as the best quarterback in the division pretty realistically. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
7.5 is so low. I don't know. I'm over.
I think as long as they make it through the beginning of this season fairly unscathed.
Yeah.
They start at Buffalo, Rams, Detroit, Washington, kind of a cupcake, San Fran, and then the Packers on the road. That's a tough start to the year. So as long as they keep their head afloat there, they can pull it off.
I think for both Seahawks and Cardinals, it's about how you navigate the other NFC West games in terms of these over-unders.
Yeah. All
right, who's winning the NFC West?
Ooh, baby. Man, it seems like everybody has chalked up 49ers, which I just don't want to do. I don't want to pick the Niners to win this division. But
who the heck are you gonna? Are you going Seahawks?
I know that's the problem. I want to pick somebody else because I hate Brock Purdy so much.
You should. To cap off the episode, you started going hot on Purdy.
I know, man.
Finish it going hot on Purdy.
Just going down. It's so hard to pick another team over them. You know what? Yeah, we're going full optimism. We're going Seattle Seahawks for the upset of all upset divisions right here. This is going to be fantastic. Get ready. Buckle up.
Looks like
Geno Smith in the MVP conversation.
Backup for Purdy is Joshua Dobbs.
Ooh.
If he comes in, you still...
They might be okay.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Seahawks last game against the Rams could be pretty important, but they get those San Fran ones out of the way. I don't know.
I want to do something fun, but
most likely it's gonna be the Niners. But I just hate them so much. I hate them. So I'm going with the hometown boys. It's probably a homer pick.
Yeah, I think it's a homer pick. I made the same pick last year.
Yeah, And I'm pretty sure we capped off the Seahawks talking, and I said 8 wins. So they're going to have to do a little better than that.
Well, the expectations have risen in the last 20 minutes here.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want the Niners. Can I just say that? I don't want the Niners to do it.
Take the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. 49ers are the field. We take the field.
I take the field. Yeah.
I have to say 49. I can't go that far on the Cardinals. And I don't think the Seahawks are going to win the division.
And you're not a Rams fan.
And I just Matt Stafford ain't playing by Thanksgiving. I don't know what people, I don't know.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
I think this will be a tight division. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think somebody's going to run away with it. Like I was saying with the Niners, I'm like, I don't think 12 wins. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. The most boring answer is probably it's whichever quarterbacks and stars stay healthy here, which is the case for every freaking preview. I don't know why we even do these.
I know, right? I'm going hometown boys. The young coach is going to get us rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. And and they don't know what to expect.
Okay. If that comes to be true, I'm going to say that I also picked them.
Okay. I might even put a bet down on that.
You should.
Just because the odds will be so freaking good.
It's good. It's a good time. All right. Well, we'll be back. AFC North.
AFC North.
Stay tuned for that one, folks. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. With the Wilson Fields conversation, we got some meaty stuff to talk about.
We got 8 good teams to talk about.
And the NFC North, holy crap.
Yeah. Lions, Packers,
Bears,
super
Caleb
hyped.
Williams. We got a lot of shite.
And then J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings.
Yeah. It'll be a nice palate cleanser.
That's a preview to my hatred of them.
So we're going to end with Vikings.
Yeah.
Our final team preview.
God, I'm just going to rip them.
And Kirk's already cracking off on J.J. McCarthy. All right, my name is Miles.
I'm Kirk.
A good night.